I interviewed her, and I actually prepared two things. Like, I wrote a reflection, and I wrote a creative outlet, like a poem, because I think it's like a different perspective. So I guess I'll read my reflection. I started with a quote that I actually came up with after I interviewed her, and it's actually a quote I've been saying this whole month, like to my friends, to my teachers when I visited my high school and everything, and they think it's really interesting. The quote I came up with was, "It's a privilege to give up in life." This is a saying I developed after listening to Hanne Liebmann's interview of her experience in the Holocaust. I realized how truly blessed I am in this life I have. A normal life with its life complications is a life worth having. Hanne spoke of how it was to live in conditions one can only dream of, to lose people of your family one by illness and by Nazis, and overall survived it all to tell the tale. I've come to realize to take the happenings of the Holocaust much more seriously. It did have its impact on society, but I believe it does depend on someone's standing in life for the impact to be felt. The modern world knows racism is wrong, but how wrong it is probably a different story. It does prove helpful that these days hate crimes and racist crimes and being told in everyday news, but I hope people become more active in preventing crimes that do not make sense, and to bring back to my mention of person standings in life. In order for the impact to be felt, it depends on the person's or family's background, such as religion, race, and or ethnics, because there are plenty of people in the world we all live in who were never in a hate crime or shown racism, or much less taught and or taken seriously. So like, not everyone is like, presented racism or hatred, because some people do live in a society which is pretty closed up and they don't know what it is, they don't know how bad it is either. So I think it's a little bit of a shame, in my opinion. I've seen, met, and idoled people like this in my life, but I never allowed myself to become the kind of person as my life continues on. I really don't like racism. There's been people who've been racist to my family, but not like what she had to deal with, but the typical stuff, like name calling, things like that. But I never allowed myself to become I want to become a better person who could withhold compassion for people. Race, religion, ethnics, why should any of this decipher good people? They shouldn't. Human beings are human beings no matter what a single person does. To go back to my quote in the beginning, there are many people in the world who should not take life for granted, and some might have done so without noticing. Life is indeed precious. Nowadays, if people give up, no one could have a gun to your head and kill you. No one in the world could tell you if you give up, you die or lose your life. Nowadays, giving up on certain dreams and life improvements would not harm you. When I personally realized this, I have a good life. I'm allowed to say I give up and be unharmed and depressed. No one in my life hated me so much to put a gun to my head. The normal college life is a good life, as I realized. So I don't plan to give up. I do not plan to send my dreams to ashes. I will live my good life to the fullest. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and then I wrote a poem. It's very brief. I'll read that, and that's it. Yeah.
You have to speak louder.
Okay. I wrote a poem. It's not that long. Okay. I didn't know what true hell I didn't know what true hell until evil told me to stay. In a hell so different than man's image, the image I had seen when I truly opened my eyes to the meaning of hatred. This hell was also filled with water mixed with dirt instead of flames. Water to sustain life was hardly ever in my sights. Sleeping was worse because warmth did not exist. Also, the company of lice and mice did not suffice. In hell, there was no solution to the cold. Happiness was beyond reach. Carrying hope was becoming a burden. But this burden would one day mean something. I knew I had to be stronger than the devils. The devils always watching. One day they'll lose their sight of me. One day I'll prove to them the spirit inside who survived. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so I actually became really, really inspired by your story, and I appreciate my life so much more than I ever did. Like, I just don't want to give up anymore. I just want to keep going.
Good. Keep going. Don't give up.
No.
I'm glad you learned something. I'm glad you realize what hate does, and you only have to look around the room here, right? The Holocaust certainly was unique. It was totally organized and mechanized and whatever you want to say. But it didn't stop in 1945. Hatred went on. And it's very clear by all of the things that you see here that we still have not learned enough, right?
Absolutely.
And even in this country, we still have a lot to learn. A lot. Right? So.
Good, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments, responses?
I'll leave with this. Hatred is bad. I don't care what your skin looks like. I don't know where you come from. You're a human being. I should like you for who you are. You know? And that's it.
Thank you.